Go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 26 of the Deus Ex Cinema Podcast. I'm your host, Arron Kluz. Joining me, as always, is Sureyya Ucok.
Hello.
And special guest, Isaiah Moungey.
Hello.
Look at you, coming around.
Look at me.
So, we had to change the movie, because we couldn't find the one that you chose, which I don't remember the name of. It was something blue.
Perfect Blue.
Yeah, something blue. Perfect Dark. The Perfect Dark movie. So what did we go with instead?
Your Name.
Your Name, which was already in the title. But so as always, let's kind of start. Say if you want to start, if it's your first time watching the movie, what were you kind of hoping to get out of it this time? What was it like, spoiler free, going into Your Name this time?
I saw it like 2 years ago, and I thought it was okay. I liked it.
Okay.
And it was good watching it a second time, but I'm not like crazy about it.
Okay. Sureyya, what about you?
This was my first time watching it. I really, really liked it up until a certain point, and then it completely fell flat for me.
Okay. Yeah, this was my first time too, and being the least weeby of the three of us. No, I wanted to see this because it got really good reviews when it came out. I don't remember when this came out. It was a couple of years ago.
I can go check if you want me to.
Well, Sarah's got the laptop. It's kind of her job.
I got you.
But you know, I had seen so much buzz around it when it was out that I wanted to see it. I never really got
Came out in
around to it.
2016.
Wow, 3 years ago already. Holy shit. Okay. So I guess we should say spoilers from here on out. Since we're going, I feel like spoilers matter for this movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
So what? Okay. So I want to preface this by saying I enjoyed the movie, but I have a lot of problems with it.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be mostly negative from my side, but overall I did enjoy the movie.
Mine will be half and half.
Half and half?
Yeah.
What about you, Isaiah? I mean, you said you liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have like a whole lot to say about it.
Okay.
So, I don't
So
know.
the first thing I want to say is what the fuck is with the I mean, you even pointed it out when we were watching it, though. Like, it opens like it's an anime show.
Yeah, it's got
Really bizarre.
3 or 4 different montages
Yeah.
with like the same song.
Yeah.
Gonna have a montage.
But I don't know. I haven't watched too many
Animals?
anime movies apart from Miyazaki
Yeah.
films and the Tekken movie when I was really young.
What? There's a Tekken movie?
Oh, is there a Tekken movie? And my dad has it on VHS.
What about Dragon Ball?
Well, that's not a movie. That's an anime show.
But they have movies.
I guess, yeah. But I mean,
You
those are
saw
still
the
those are
Super
still
God
like
one with the cat.
those are still show oriented. So like I haven't seen too many like just standalone anime movies like this one. Is that typical that they still do an intro?
Fucking, I don't know, man. I haven't seen a whole lot of regular movies either.
You're the resident weeb
That's
of
Sureyya.
the channel.
Sureyya's a weeb.
You're weebier than Sureyya though, because Sureyya's weebiness comes in waves. You're just kind of like consistent mid-level weeb.
I'm consistently less weeby than her.
But like, if you took the aggregate amount of time spent being a weeb in a year, the amount that you would accumulate over the year would be more than like the 1 month of the year that she goes hardcore weeb.
Sureyya, what do you think?
I mean...
This is the real discussion we came here to have.
I
fuck
feel
the
like,
movie.
I feel like you have a lot more weeby clothes and items, and I don't.
I have 2 anime shirts.
You used to have like 4.
That was a while ago.
2 of them I took from you. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
you
have
did take-
I have the black butler shirt.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember what else. I also have your Slayer shirt.
The only other like weeb stuff I have is some Dragon Ball figures.
That's more than I have.
Well, I'm not even talking about possessions. I just feel like you're more knowledgeable about this stuff, really.
Doesn't make me
I
more of a
think-
weeb.
There was one time when we were living together that we made a list of all the animes that we had watched.
Have we had this argument?
Yeah, we have had this argument many
then
times because
I
you're both
think-
ashamed of being weebs.
I'm not ashamed of it. I just think she's a bigger weeb than I am.
Aaron,
You had
Aaron,
a
if
vastly bigger list than Sureyya.
No. I had the bigger list.
Yeah.
I had
Really?
like 35 or 36 animes that I watched. Isaiah was close to me, but he was a little less, probably by like 3 or 4. Did you just fart?
No, I was playing with the glass.
Do we need to make this list again?
Oh my god.
God
Do
damn
you
it.
know how long that would take?
This is not what this podcast is about. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I thought that was weird. The intro to the movie, and it was even shot like an anime intro.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the Your Name logo to come up.
Did it?
I was waiting for it to. I don't think it ever did, but it should have. But while you did bring up that there was a lot of montages, that does lead me to something I want to talk about. Is there are so
Gotta
many
have a
fucking
montage.
montages? There's 4 or 5.
I think there's 4.
Because there was intro montage for like the title sequence. There was the montage right as that explained how they figured out that they were switching bodies and it wasn't dreams.
Mm-hmm.
There was the montage of Taki traveling to what's her name?
To
Mitsu?
Mitsuha's.
Mitsuya. I wrote it down somewhere.
I think it's Mitsuha.
Mitsuha. There's the montage of Taki traveling to Mitsuha's village. And then there's the montage at the end of them not quite meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there was another one in there
Yeah,
that
there
I'm
might be
missing.
another.
There's like 5 or 6 montages. And every single montage has awful fucking music.
It sounds like it was probably re-recorded with English lyrics.
Yeah.
If I had to make a guess.
But just like the tone of it, you know, whenever there was, it really stuck out to me because whenever it had a score, the score was really good. But then whenever it had like music, it was really bad. So it was like this weird dichotomy of where it would have like this beautiful score, and then like this pop music would come in that did not match at all. Like when it's following the comet and it's like this happy sounding pop song.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so bizarre. I don't know. Did any of the music stand out to either of you guys?
I really like the music track for this movie.
Even like the music with the vocals?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of super cheesy,
Yeah.
but I really liked it. It reminded me of this one band. I can't remember who they're called, but it sounded like it was them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What about you, Isaac?
Yeah, I just didn't really like that song. Maybe once would have been fine,
Yeah.
but 4 or 5 times.
Was it the same song over and over?
I think it was the same song a couple times. I think there was a couple different songs, but they all
Okay.
sounded exactly the same. Because they were like this typical, like pop rock anime music. You know, like you could have taken that intro music and thrown it over like any anime's intro scene, and it would feel exactly the same, except for maybe Attack on Titan. Let's see here. So another thing I thought was really good though was I thought the movie was beautiful.
Yeah, it
Since-
was really nice.
Since we are doing an animation
Oh my god, yeah.
block, we should probably actually talk
Yeah.
about
It
the
did a
animation.
really good job of encompassing like a dreamlike
Mm-hmm.
state, like a space dream.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. It's probably this movie made me feel like really small,
Mm-hmm.
and just the movie felt so vast to me.
Yeah.
It made me feel awkward,
Okay.
and like I enjoyed what I was feeling, but like at the same time I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
It kind of gave me like an existential crisis kind of thing. I don't know how I feel about that.
All right. You were gonna say something, Isaac?
I really like that that sequence where it went like, what's the word for it? Not watercolor, but where it was all like illustrated.
Oh,
and
where
colored
it's
in.
where it switched the style.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really nice looking. One thing that really stood out to me too was that it did a really cool job of mixing like traditional 2D anime style with 3D. Because there's a lot of like sweeping camera angles that like move in 3D space that you don't see a lot. But it didn't look like there's that weird kind of anime style where it is 3D and it has like that really low frame rate and it's ugly as fuck.
Yeah.
Like Ruby's that way, or the Godzilla Netflix anime's that way. And it's just I can't get into that. it's so gross looking in a way. Yeah, but I thought it was absolutely gorgeous, especially the environments. Like all the backgrounds were super detailed,
and like the rain and the snow.
Yeah, especially the rain. That was some fine rain. So before we get into some of the more nitty gritty stuff, I thought we could talk about the plot. So I said it is your movie. So could you give us a lowdown of the general plot of Your Name?
The plot is that this girl from small village switches bodies with a boy in Tokyo. They're both in high school, and they just have random days where they end up in each other's bodies and have to try and live life normally. And then they kind of figure it out, and they eventually try and meet up, sort of. But then they realize that, like, the girl in the village, like, her village was blown up by a comet. Not very well spoken.
Not very well spoken.
Her village was blown up by a comet, so in addition to switching bodies, they've been switching time periods.
Yeah.
And then they have to try and switch bodies again and get everybody to not fucking die from this comet.
Well spoken.
Yeah.
And it's a 3-year period, 3-year gap. Right. So, what did you guys think of that sort of wrinkle? Because most movies, I think, would have been satisfied with the idea of it's a rom-com, but they switch bodies 2 to 3 times a week. And then they live out a day. And that's how they fall in love and shit, and then they have to find each other. But what did you guys think of that added wrinkle of, oh, she's also been dead for 3 years, and they've also been traveling time, and now he needs to save her?
That was really unexpected, but at the same time, I think they made it flow in a really good way.
Okay.
Like
the transition to
that
sort of part of the story.
They made it really seamless looking.
Okay.
Like they were in their current times, like the most present time.
Okay.
Without it making it seem like it was 3 years ago.
Okay.
If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. What about you, Isaiah?
I really liked it. I think that premise is really cool.
Yeah.
And like having that weird, sad twist, I think it added to the movie a lot.
Okay.
And it made it a lot more serious.
So you think it was sad?
Yeah.
It was sad for you when you found out that she was dead?
Yeah, because he goes to the village and it's just this big fucking empty hole.
Yeah. The only reason I ask is because for me it wasn't sad.
No?
Because one of the bigger issues I had was that I never bought that they really fell in love. Because like it's just a montage. Like you see a montage.
Every time you say montage, I just want to say, gotta have a montage.
Because I mean they figure it out and you have like a quick montage of it. And then they're like, okay, I set up this date for you. And he's like, oh, she's so annoying. She's laughing at me. And then it's just like, boom, she's dead. Mm-hmm. And it never really, I never felt that there was really much chemistry or a connection between them at all. It was just, to me, it felt like the movie was just telling me that they had that connection now.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it is probably because they did have this whole back-end plot of this comet and them trying to save the town and like that aspect of it, unlike something like Her, where the entire movie is building that relationship and then you have the sad part in like the third act of it. Mm-hmm. So I almost would have preferred if it was just like them building the relationship and then he finds out she's dead and then there's maybe a half hour left of the movie. Mm-hmm. Where either he's dealing with it or he tries to save her and that's all the time it takes.
She's just dead.
Well, because which would have been fine though.
Yeah, that would have been fine.
But like, I mean, one of the notes I wrote was, "Holy fuck, I don't care about saving the town," because I didn't, and it took forever. Mm-hmm. Like by the time because because he like drinks her spit sake.
Her spit sake.
At this like temple in a volcano, and then he goes back in time one last time, and so he's like putting together this plan where they're gonna blow up the power plant and then do a fake distress call to get everybody to school. I was like, I don't care about this at all. Like, I don't give a shit because I don't care about any of these people. None of this relationship is believable at this point, and I feel I didn't care. Mm-hmm. And by that point, I was like, all right, I just want it to be over. And then it took forever to be over at that point. So I don't know. It didn't really work for me, but I could see how it works for sure. Like, I don't think you guys aren't justified in being sad at it. I think I'm just too jaded, and I need a little bit more to buy into it.
It might have worked better if they had like if he had found out that she was dead. Maybe at the same point in the movie, but she hadn't yet died because she had already died yet in like her other timeline.
Yeah.
So maybe he could have went back in her body and then tried to tell her about it somehow.
Yeah. So that would have... And then whenever you have scenes with her, you know, it could be the two of them trying to figure out how to save the town together. Mm-hmm. Instead of it being just him. And then, like... I don't know. That part didn't work for me. Especially because there's no... Since it is a romance movie before everything else, I would say. Mm-hmm. There's no... like connection between saving the town and their relationship in a weird way. Because I mean, obviously he wants to save her, and she doesn't want to die. Mm-hmm. But like, there's no. That really doesn't have anything to do with their relationship. Like, they could have been friends, and it would have played out exactly the same. Mm-hmm. You know, they would have been like, oh well, I don't want my friend to die, and she's like, I don't want to fucking die. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It felt really lackluster to me. Like, at first when it happened, I liked it, but then I feel like it didn't do much with her being dead 3 years ago by a giant fucking comet destroying an entire city. So, did you guys have any complaints about the story at all then? Or anything that really stuck out to you as interesting about how the story was presented? I know one thing that I really liked was how they sort of figured out and explored... them communicating with one another through the diaries, and then like kind of how they played around with the idea of people liking them better when they're each other. Yeah. Because like all the friends, like she becomes more popular when it's him, and he gets a date with the girl he has a crush on when it's her, and she only likes him when he's her. So I like that aspect of it, at least. I thought that was pretty interesting. I wish they had explored that more instead of having fucking montages. Did anything stick out to you guys, especially about the story at all?
I really liked the beginning, and then as soon as we find out that, like, just like after the initial shock of figuring out, like after he goes to the town where she lived and seeing that it was completely destroyed by the comet. Mm-hmm. I really liked it up until that point. Okay. And after everything after that, where he's trying to like figure out how to see her again and save the town, they could have done without it. Okay. I would have much preferred this movie to end with him finding out that she's dead, and then him just moving on. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I think I like the idea of this story more than the story itself. Yeah. Like, the whole switching bodies and the different time periods, and like, it would have been really cool if she had just been dead. Yeah. There's just a lot of ways that they handled it that I didn't like. Mm-hmm. But overall, I think the sort of just the idea of everything kind of carries itself to still be an interesting movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that is one thing I had, was that I thought not even just talking about like the third act of saving the town and everything, but I think the actual very ending kind of ruins the movie. Because like, it sets it up where she runs in by her family, and then you see the comet hit and you think she's dead. And then it goes back to years later in Tokyo to Tachi and him kind of just living life. And then you're like, okay, well, obviously she's still alive. And then they like draw it out of them like almost meeting, but then they don't meet, and then they almost look at each other, but they don't look, and then they're both like, "Hey, don't I know you?" And it doesn't make any sense. Like, like at that point, it feels more like they wrote the story to not have a sad ending, and like kind of just please the audience rather than that. It didn't feel like that's where the story was supposed to go. You know, it kind of felt like it was like, okay, we're moving in this certain direction, and then, oh, but all of a sudden this is going to happen so that people don't leave the theater sad, and it has a happy ending at the end. I also had a bit of a problem with some plot holes, which usually don't bother me too much, as long as they aren't too major, but I felt like there was kind of a lot in this. Like, this is a really small one, but it kept standing out to me because the movie drew so much attention towards it, of why did he keep a random woman's ribbon for 3 years when he didn't know the woman? And he even went so far to, like, wear it as a bracelet for 3 years and obviously care about it. Because he kept it that entire time without knowing that it was her ribbon. And he didn't even realize it until he's already on the volcano and the movie's almost over.
Yeah.
So it's like... And they made, like, a big deal of him taking it, like, out of a drawer and tying it around his wrist before he went to go find her. But he didn't know it was hers.
Maybe you just thought it was cool.
But like, the way it's shot, there's like clear sentimental value for the time that a random woman tried talking to him on a train, said her name, and then fucked off.
If he's lonely, that's
but
the
they
only
never
woman
established
that's ever
that he
talked
was.
To him.
And he just jerks off.
He went on a date.
Jerks off.
He went on a date though, like, and they never established that he's like super lonely, and he's like latching onto that memory of this woman on a train.
It's because they recognize each other from parallel timelines and universes.
But he doesn't, because he didn't realize it till he's on the volcano.
He has the subconscious sentimental value of her fucking hair ribbon.
It doesn't make any fucking sense. Some of the other things was, it didn't make sense to me, the forgetting each other plot. Because because it does it twice. It does it where after she dies and he's looking for her, and he goes to her village where it used to be, and there's like the evidence of her existence on his phone starts disappearing.
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense.
Because she had already been dead.
Yeah, the entire time. And then all of a sudden they like can't remember each other's names, which doesn't make any sense either. I
would have been okay with that happening in a different way.
Yeah,
like the instantaneous way that it happened.
Yeah, because the only thing that I could think of as the excuse for it would be that because she didn't get hit by the comet, the timey-wimey bullshit never happened. But, like, he still had that entire experience.
It's time travel, dude. It doesn't make sense.
but like, there's some movies that can, like, some movies explain it, you know, and they at least set the ground rules of this is how it works in this universe. Yeah. But this movie's just like, fuck you, they don't remember each other's names.
Just watching you, like, try and think about it. It's so funny.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, he still had that entire experience. He still had all those... I mean, he's talking about not having the memories. But, like, then why do they still have that inkling of, like, looking for... It doesn't make any fucking sense that they forget each other's names, is what I'm saying. And because even after he forgets her name, he's still obsessed with the village and, like, the comet. So it's like there's still traces, but nothing of it happened anymore, and it doesn't make any fucking sense. I don't know. I don't know if that bothered you guys at all, but it really fucking bothered me.
Not me, no.
I think it would have made more sense if, like, he had tried to tell her that the comet was coming. Yeah. And, like, maybe she and only a few other people got out of the village. Yeah. But so then it would have made sense that, like, this already happened and she already left the village because of this weird time travel thing. Yeah. So time wasn't really changed. Yeah. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because now you have, like, a timeline where she did die and where she didn't die.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Oh, well, and then it's also weird, like, because they don't... The structure of this movie is a little odd. Because it starts off with you seeing the girl, but she wakes up as the guy. Mm-hmm. But then it's the girl.
Yeah.
Like, they set it up like it's one continuous day, but it's not. Mm-hmm. And then you go through the day, and then it does the same thing for the guy. And it kind of hints that something's up. But so when you open up with the female's perspective, with the woman's perspective, I don't know why I said female's like a neckbeard. That was really weird. With the, and I don't want to say her name because I already forgot it. Mizuha. When you open up with Mizuha's perspective, and especially stay with it for that long, it establishes that she is the primary point of view. Mm-hmm. But she's not at all. Yeah. Because not only do you have the huge chunk of time in the middle where you're just following Tachi.
It's Taki.
I don't fucking know. I'm not Japanese. When you're just
Mitsuha?
I'm also awful with names. So I'm going to call it woman and man. So you have the whole section in the middle where you're following man. And then it ends at the man's perspective. And especially when we're talking about how all this timey-wimey bullshit doesn't make sense. I really would have liked to see her perspective. Because if he's not remembering anything, then the assumption is that she's not remembering anything either.
But she tended to remember a lot more than he did.
But, I mean, she also forgot his name right away. And she also didn't recognize him at the end when they finally meet. So if she
didn't recognize each other. Like, they just sort of knew that there was, like, something.
Yeah, so I'm saying she's on the same level as him with not remembering shit. So what is her perspective on the fact that she blew up the power plant and did this whole convoluted fucking thing to save the town from the comet? Is she just like, oh, somehow I knew that the nucleus of the comet was going to split and destroy half the town and we all had to get to the school to survive. So I did a terrorist act and blew up a fucking power plant. Like, how did she explain all of that?
Yeah, do they face, like, legal repercussions for that?
Apparently not, because she just fucked off to Tokyo and everything was fine. And the movie just has no interest in explaining anything from her perspective after, like, a third of the way through the movie. Which I find infuriating, because it doesn't make sense at all.
Now is a good time to remind everyone that we enjoyed the movie. It was good.
Yes, it was enjoyable. It was... Maybe we should talk about positives.
I think we've already mentioned all the positives.
I guess, because it is interesting seeing how they piece it together. And as nonsensical and haphazard as it is still really enjoyable to watch. But goddamn, it doesn't make any sense at the end. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
I really like that scene where they're writing each other's names on their hands.
Yeah.
And then she just, like, poofs out of existence and the pen falls.
Yeah.
That was really, really weird and sad.
Yeah. It was really suddenly emotional, just how brief it was. Mm-hmm. And I was almost hoping that the movie would sort of take... So one of the discussions I wanted to have was what the fuck this movie's about. And I don't mean, like, narratively. I mean, like, thematically. Mm-hmm. Because the direction I thought it was going once it revealed that she was dead was living on with people's memories and then kind of just having to move on. Which would have been really ironic because that's what Kubo's about and that was our first animation movie. But especially because it sets up, she was dead 3 years ago, and then especially with that marker scene. Like, could you imagine how sad it would have been if, like, she just disappeared there and then she was never seen again?
Yeah.
And you had, like, 10 minutes of him being sad and moving on, and then that was it. That was the end of the movie. Rico, shut up. We're recording. But that's not what it is because she lives. And the movie goes out of its way to talk about strings. Like, it uses that ancient, maybe not ancient, but traditional Japanese, I forget what they called it, but they were like weaving strings.
Yeah.
The woman and her grandma.
Yeah.
And she's talking about unionization. and how these unions, are when two things enter each other, and then they tear apart, and they come back together, and it spoils the whole movie. Rinko, shut up. We're recording. Come here, Rinko. You mean old shrew. But so it really, because not only does it have the grandma talk about it, there's the repeated imagery of the strains. There's the web during the climax when it's raining, and she's talking about, and she's racing. It's all about the web and blah 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 blah. The dude talks about it because he was the one at the ceremony. So again, the woman doesn't even have any involvement in the thematic scenes of the movie whatsoever, which is also bizarre. But so it's really trying to shoehorn in this idea of the union, but I don't get what it's trying to say with it at all.
Maybe that when like two people like come together, they can sort of break apart
and just always come back.
Yeah.
I guess, but I don't know. That just doesn't really, that doesn't jive with me, I guess. Because I don't know. Because it's not like they have much of a point to that. I feel like there's no point to the movie.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I get, there are movies where it's, just for the sake of the story, but typically you can find something. You can, grab onto something and be like, oh, this is the essence of the story. But this doesn't have anything. I don't know if it's because it just gets so fucking weird and nonsensical towards the end. Mm-hmm. But that was one thing that it did also kind of frustrate me. I was like, I don't know what you're trying to tell me. I don't know what the point of all of this is. Because when you have no real clear theme, a romance that doesn't really feel believable, for me at least, and then just this nonsense fucking plot. I'm like, what am I supposed to be getting out of this? Is it just to look pretty? What are you going for? What was the writer and director trying to do with this movie? I have no idea.
They were just trying to sell a romance.
I guess, but I mean, it's such an artistically put together movie, and if you just want to make a romance, why the fuck do you need a comet to kill one of the people 3 years ago, halfway through the movie?
It's an anime, Aaron.
I guess.
Gotta have crazy shit.
Maybe this is why I can't get into anime as much as you guys.
I love the idea of other anime characters coming into the movie and fucking shit up.
Yeah, we did make jokes throughout it of the comet being Frieza. And then Takio coming in and saving the day.
That would have been so funny.
From My Love Story. He's just got his big fucking lips. Stopping the comet.
Oh, I want to watch My Love Story again.
I've been wanting to watch it lately, too.
I'm trying to get Savannah to watch it.
Has she not watched it ever?
She would fucking love that show.
She would.
Why won't she?
Why
is she being such a bitch?
She has issues with subtitles.
Oh.
She don't like to read. Well, because she's never had to watch a movie with subtitles before. Or, anything. So I get it.
Huh. Okay.
Because if you ever showed, a normal person Pan's Labyrinth, and there's I gotta read it.
I guess. I don't know. That's a trick. I usually prefer subtitles. Otherwise, I miss stuff.
I just turn the TV up.
I guess. I don't know.
I liked them for a while, but I think it sometimes messes up the flow of sentences and revealing information.
Yeah, especially with comedies.
Yeah.
It ruins the joke.
If you ever watch it with stand-up.
Yeah. Yeah, stand-up it's awful for. How long have we been going, Sureyya?
Half an hour.
Can we fucking be done? No, I'm joking. So, any closing thoughts? I that was everything I wanted to talk about. Did you guys have any closing thoughts on Your Name?
I thought it was really pretty.
Yeah. That was the big takeaway. It was really pretty.
It was fucking gorgeous.
It definitely has a mood to it that I think is really unique. It's got that just sort of surreal atmosphere to it that's really constant. Yeah. 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 What about you, Isaiah? Any closing thoughts?
I liked it. It has a lot of negatives and positives, and it sort of cancels out to be this weird, good movie that I only enjoy showing it to other people. I wouldn't watch it again myself. Yeah.
All right, well, let's do ratings then. Sureyya, what would you rate Your Name?
I would give it a 6 to a 7.
Okay. Any justification?
I like the first half. I think the second half could have been either deleted or done much better.
Okay.
And then I really enjoyed the mood that it gave me.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the artwork, and I liked how unique the story was.
Okay.
And I really liked the grandma's lore of time.
Okay. Yeah, because she also ties that into the union stuff.
That resonated very strongly with me.
Okay. Isaiah, what would you rate it?
Probably a 6 or a 7. It feels like a 6, but I bought it. So I feel like I have to say it's a 7.
Do you not buy 6s?
No.
I bought a couple 6s.
That's always how I describe like my movie scale.
Okay.
Is when it gets to a 7, I might buy it.
Okay.
So I guess a 7.
So it's a 6.5.
Yeah.
You round up to 7.
I think I'd also give it a 6. I think one of the things I really appreciated about it was that it very much felt like someone's vision, which I really like. Especially when it's, it never felt like a studio movie. It was like, okay, clearly someone has had a very clear idea for the story they wanted to tell. And I didn't like all of the decisions, and I wish that they had focused on different areas than what they did, but I like consuming art where you can clearly see the person behind it. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it was still enjoyable, even though I had a lot of problems with the ending. Up until then, it was really good, except for all the montages.
Can I bring this discussion back around to the beginning when we were talking about who was a bigger weeb?
It's you.
I wrote a list.
You wrote a list.
This is why Sureyya's been quiet the entire podcast.
I've been talking here and there.
Okay, you can click off now if you're not interested anymore.
I made a list of anime shows and movies that I have seen.
Mm-hmm.
I am up to 53.
Well, give me a list then.
Here you go.
Oh, God.
Okay.
All right. Well, while Isaiah's doing that, we can move on to our weekly roundup section. Sureyya,
talk about what we've been watching.
Yeah. Sureyya, what have you been watching?
Real quick, would I count like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z as separate things?
Yes, they're different series.
Okay.
So let's see. What have I been watching? Well, Your Name.
Good.
We watched Kubo last week.
Yep.
And I recently bought the Lord of the Rings Extended Edition finally.
Yeah.
So that's going to be my entire Memorial Day tomorrow.
Are Dragon Ball movies counted separately?
Yes.
Fuck. That doesn't feel fair.
Just count how many there are that you've seen.
Because they're separate entities. Because, you could watch all of Dragon Ball Z and then not watch Battle of the Gods.
Yeah.
So, they're separate.
Yeah, just count how many movies you've seen, and then just write that number down, and then...
Because some of the movies are only like 45 minutes.
They're still movies. Right?
They're separate entities, bro.
Fuck, man.
I'm sorry. I hate to do it to you.
I'm going to have to write them all down, because I got to keep track of them.
Then mine's up to 56.
Okay. We'll come back to that.
So yeah, Lord of the Rings is going to be my entire day tomorrow.
Yep.
And I'm excited.
Well, except for the Game of Thrones podcast we're recording.
Ah, shit. I have purposely not watched the last 2 episodes of Game of Thrones because if I don't watch it, then they don't end. It doesn't end. I have a problem finishing things, which is why I never finish things. Anyways, I recently bought 3 or 4 Disney movies. I'm trying to collect all the original movies that I saw when I was a kid. So.
What one did you watch last night? Little Mermaid.
I watched The Little Mermaid.
How was going back to The Little Mermaid?
Oh my god! When it was opening, and just the music started, and just setting up the tone and the world.
Yeah.
That The Little Mermaid is in. I legitimately almost cried. I had tears in my eyes, but they did not fall.
That goes back to our nostalgia conversation from 2 episodes ago.
It was... I hadn't seen The Little Mermaid in so fucking long.
Yeah.
It's been years.
That is easily the Disney movie I've seen the most.
It's the fucking Little Mermaid.
I have... Because my mom
Even
was...
more than The Lion King?
My mom was obsessed with The Little Mermaid.
Well,
I was almost named Ariel as a boy. But my dad said no. So, yeah. I mean, I've seen The Little Mermaid so many times.
The Little Mermaid is a classic, man.
I hate it.
It's a classic.
But that's just because I've seen it so many times.
But I mean, so yeah, I watched The Little Mermaid, and then I bought a Miyazaki film, The Cat Returns.
Yes.
And I must say, that is probably one...
That movie was a fever dream. That movie
that was like...
barely even made sense.
that movie is easily topping Princess Mononoke.
As your favorite? I didn't even think Princess Mononoke was your favorite.
Princess Mononoke is definitely my favorite.
I thought Spirited Away was your favorite.
No, Princess Mononoke has always been the very top of my list.
Okay.
And then I would say Spirited Away, and...
Not even Kiki's.
Really?
Oh,
or Totoro.
Fuck. I'm up to 57.
I think Howl's is at my top.
Howl's?
Howl's Moving Castle.
I really like The Cat's Return. It made no sense. It was really short. It could have definitely been longer.
That's such a bizarre movie.
But I enjoyed it so fucking much.
Okay.
Because, like, it didn't really make you think like Princess Mononoke does.
Yeah.
Or Howl's Moving Castle. It doesn't... I don't know. It was on a completely different level.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say that is now at my top.
Okay.
And then I'd go Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, Howl's, Kiki's, My Neighbor Totoro, and Ponyo.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I still haven't... I mean, I haven't seen a lot of Miyazaki films still.
Yeah. I mean, we never finished As the Wind Rises.
You didn't like it!
I hated it. I was so fucking bored. And that movie's so long. It's like a 2.5 hour long movie and nothing happens.
Yeah, but like...
It's all just a dude, like, in a windy field looking up at planes longingly. It's that for 2.5 fucking hours.
Anyways.
You got a question?
I was trying to think of a show, but I remembered it.
Alright, this weeb list is important.
So yeah, I watched that, and then I bought Cinderella and Toy Story, the first Toy Story.
That's about Oliver's Company or whatever.
Oh, I also have Oliver and Company. So those are 3 that are on my to-watch list. I don't know if I mentioned this in our last podcast, but I bought the first 3 Pokemon movies on Blu-ray.
We did talk about the Pokemon movies.
Okay,
yeah.
So those are all up on there.
You've been watching The Bachelorette.
I have been watching The Bachelorette. I'm going to be honest, I've been skipping through most of it. I just want to see the drama between the men. Pretty much. That's... I don't really care about Hannah. Let's be honest. If anything, I feel like they should have had the other girl be the Bachelorette.
I don't know.
Whatever the fuck her name was.
You
know, the one, she was like ex-friends with the current Bachelorette, Hannah.
Oh, the other model girl, Caitlin or whatever?
Was it Caitlin?
I don't know. It's something with a C. Caitlin.
Caitlin. It was Caitlin. I think. What did you say?
Huh? Anyways, I watched the first season of Barry.
How'd you like that?
In about 3 days. I absolutely loved it. It was great.
From what I saw yesterday while I was watching Little Mermaid, it looked pretty good.
Yeah, I showed Isaiah the first episode yesterday.
Bill Hader seems really fun in it.
It is awesome. It is such a great show.
I feel like Bill Hader is underrated.
I don't know. I feel like most people think he's pretty great. Especially now that he's starting to do less like SNL type stuff.
I guess
I
felt like he was underrated because like of a combination of some of his SNL skits and then all the Amy Schumer, the train wreck with Amy Schumer.
Yeah, I mean people really like Trainwreck though. That was a pretty successful movie.
Amy Schumer sucks. Women are not funny. Get over it.
Isaiah, you showed me the first episode of Mr. Robot.
Yeah, how'd you like that?
I'm on the fence.
Mm-hmm.
I liked a lot of it, disliked a lot of it.
Was it because it was setting up stuff?
No, it was just... a lot of it came off like it was trying really hard.
To be edgy?
To, like, be edgy. And, like, the main character says IRL and AFK when
That
he's
is
talking to people.
literally only in the first episode.
Well, I have only seen the first episode.
We watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure together.
58.
And I think you should have to count Naruto because you were there for so much of it.
59. I was debating whether or not to label, to watch, to
Count
put that on
Naruto.
that, yeah.
I'm going to make my own list, too, so that we can compare. I'll have my 5 anime on there. All right, we have all completed our anime lists.
Is it recording? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's recording. We've completed our anime lists. Let's see who's the biggest weeb. I'll go first because there's no suspense in mine. Anime shows that I've watched at least an episode of and understood, and movies totaled 54.
You got
That's a lot more than I
54?
thought.
I counted how many I actually liked. 18. And most of those were Ghibli films. And then another most of it was Dragon Ball. Alright, Sureyya, what you got?
I have 75 or 76. Movies
Isaiah?
and shows.
73.
Oh my
Holy
God!
shit! So, I think we'd be okay to assume that some may have been missed. So
Some were definitely.
it still could go either way between the two of you.
That's how it turned out the last time when we did this, though. Because I was at about 35 or 36, and Isaiah, you were still behind me by a few.
Yeah.
We're always
But then,
super
then for the
close.
rest of the day, we're probably just walking around and go, oh, fuck, I forgot one.
So the problem with the argument was that we were having the wrong argument the whole time. It's not who's more of a weeb. You're both just the same level of weeb.
No, it's not. She has more.
But we don't know for sure because you might have forgotten some.
But this is the
And she could
second
have
time
forgotten
now that
some.
we've done this, and she's had more.
She might just have a better memory than you.
Well, that Aaron.
All right. To wrap up then, Sureyya, what is your pick for the third and final movie of our animation rotation?
My
I love how
pick
it rhymes.
will be the Triplets of Belleville.
Perfect. Fantastic pick. I want to go eat sushi. So let's wrap it up. Thank you for listening. As always, you can find us as Default White Guys on YouTube and Instagram. You can find us as Deus Ex Cinema on Spotify, iTunes, and SoundCloud. See you next week.
Bye.
I'm going to go change so that we can eat.